We are playing Castlevania 3 today. That's right. I've never played this game before. However, I was informed that the correct way to play this game is the Japanese version of Castlevania 3. Because, like, it's better for, like, just playing for fun, I guess. I have no clue. But that's why we're playing the Japanese version. You're getting a lore update here. You guys all know how to read Japanese, correct? 15 Japanese words. So, I don't know how long this is going to take us. I'm here for a good time, not a long time or whatever. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, join the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. Who knows? Maybe next time I'll play Castlevania 4, and then Castlevania 5, and then Castlevania 6. But not Castlevania 7. Opening or password? I'm thinking opening. I'm feeling opening on this one. My name? My name is Balls. Let's go, Balls! Get him! So I believe this is Ralph? Shoutouts to Ralph Belmont. And I know many of you are going, what are you talking about? That's Trevor. No, his name is Ralph in the Japanese version of the game. You clearly don't know anything about your Castlevania lore. Are you even a real Castlevania fan? It's Ralph. Anyways, this one is stage-based and not open world cringe or whatever. I don't know. I had fun with Castlevania 2. I think Castlevania 2 is one of those games that has a reputation for being really bad, but, like, I don't know. I don't think it's any worse than, like, any other game I've ever played. You know what I mean? It's just a very ambitious video game, I feel like. What is going on here? I need the money! Ah. This is an interesting stage one. Very cool looking. Big fan of the aesthetics. Music is obviously amazing. I wasn't paying attention. There we go. As you do, you have to break every candle. And I'll take the holy water. I think that's worth grabbing for sure. If I know anything about Castlevania, holy water is busted. MLG skeleton! Ah! Dude, the skeletons are always insane in Castlevania. They always have been. Ah! Okay, we got him. I know there's going to be wall meat somewhere. Gotta keep checking. You can't hide the meat from me. I can sniff meat from a mile away. Give me the meat. No. Meat? No. Meat. Damn, we're already on Medusa heads? We've been playing the game for 2 minutes. And if I wasn't slowing down to whip every candle, we'd be only been playing for like 30 seconds. Ah! No! Okay. Cool game. I actually don't want the stopwatch. I'd like to keep the holy water. Ow! Why would you do that, freaking Medusa? Okay, can we stop with that? That's some BS. Why is there BS in my Castlevania game? I thought these were fair and fun and balanced. Who the hell is this guy? And this guy? And this guy? And this guy? And this guy? Again, I'm keeping the holy water. Oh, do I have to throw sub-weapons out to get, like, sub-weapon upgrades? Kind of like how CV1 had it, where you have to do damage with sub-weapons to get the multi-throw stuff to spawn. It might be one of those. I just want to throw the holy water. Ah! There it is. And there's wall meat, surely, right? Oh my god, he's the goat. Is stream smoking one weed? I would never smoke a weed. What the fuck is this thing? Jesus Christ, man. Is that a flea man? Flea lord? Ah! Okay, that was a kind of messed up situation. No! I wanted the holy water for the boss fight. Oh, dude, it's so Jover. I'm about to get owned by this guy. Look at him. Oh my god. He's so beefy. Okay, he's got range for fucking days. Okay. Understood. Fuck you, bat. Dude, I'm bad. Hold on, guys. I think I might be bad at this game. Okay, the bats move different. The bats are moving different. I remember them moving different in Castlevania 1. Is that copium? Yes. Is it more so that I'm just bad? Yes. Where's he going? Stay away! Stay away from me! Be gone, evil! Oh, I'm fucked. Oh, never mind. We got him. And we only lost one life. My Oshi is washed. Oh, there's Castlevania. It's on the map. Which way do I go? To Cogstown or spike your balls off? I'm gonna go Cogstown. I don't want the crushy spikies on my balls. Cogstown. Banger alert. I don't know the routes that you're supposed to take. I've never played this game before, so. If the down route is better, then, well, fuck me, I guess. What, there are spikes here anyways. Always pick the cock and ball torture route. Don't you mean cognitive behavioral therapy? Maybe? Down is easier? Well, what do I look like? A coward? I'm a professional Castlevania player, okay? Yep, I'm a professional. Don't clip that. Nobody needs to see that later is the thing. We could just, honestly, this could be our little secret. Everybody who is here, we could delete the VOD. No one has to know. It could just be our little secret chat. You don't need to narc on me, right? Let me get my freaking candle whipping in. It's just for money. God. There we go. See, I just wanted to listen more of this fantastic music is the thing. This is a classic. Jesus Christ. For some reason, I thought I was going to bonk my head. Didn't they have collision like that in Castlevania 2? Where if you jumped into a ceiling, it would actually cut your jump short? I think that's why I thought to not do that. It might be some CV2 holdover stuff.
Why would they change the physics between games? That's illogical. Why don't they simply just use the same code base for the next game? That seems, like, wasteful.
Guy who's never had to do anything in his life before.
I simply would do it differently.
Ugh. They do love this whole pendulum swinging gimmick. It's been in, like, every Castlevania game ever. So, does the English version just have, like, Medusa heads in that screen the entire time or something? Supposedly, the English version, the US version is just harder. My thought is that they just put Medusa heads everywhere. Like, that's their way of making it harder. But I could be wrong. Don't fall! Oh, I can't wait to play as Alucard. It's gonna be great. Give me those hearts. I'm gonna need them. Also, the fact that this doesn't move me at all is also weird. This feels like a gimmick where the floor would be moving. You know what I mean? Just got some RCA cables for my NES. Played the game today on original hardware. Nice. Hell yeah. There is something special about playing on original hardware. Okay, these Medusa heads are fucking me up. They're fucking me up. There's probably a way to do that without taking 10 million hits of damage, but what am I, a professional Castlevania player? That's stupid. Who would call themselves that? Because I'm not doing well at this game, anybody who does do well at this game is actually a nerd, and I hate them. Because that's how it works. Sorry, I don't make the rules. If you're better at something than me, it means you're a nerd and you're trying hard. But if I'm better than you at it, it means that I'm epic and skilled and I deserve all the support and praise for doing so. Yeah, the stairs are definitely something. Ah, my big heart! What? We're good. Platforming expert. Oh, the double. Ooh, baby, a double. Don't Medusa head me. Don't do it. Remember when I said, wouldn't it be fucked up if there was Medusa heads everywhere? I like the level so much, I just wanted to replay it. Okay, game over on level 2 is not a good look for your boy. I'm gonna be honest. The professional Castlevania player looking like a fraud right now. Maybe I should keep the stopwatch and use that for the Medusa heads, unironically. That, I think, is the play. And I can figure out the boss however I need to. Also, what is this over here? Just money? Okay, good to know. Professional Castlevania player. Dude, I feel like the stairs should have a little bit that you could stand on. Like, I should be able to stand on this step. Use the step, Ralph. Clearly, you should be able to step on that. It's called a step. You should be able to step on it. This guy? What do you mean? I'm using the English language.
Oh, streamer, this game is in Japanese, actually.
Oh, my bad. I don't think this clock tower is OSHA compliant. Welcome in, Marcus. Oh, I know how unfair the NES gets. Trust me, this is a good game in the catalog of NES games for a reason. Look, it's like, oh, you think that's a war crime? Let me show you a smoking pile of rubble. It's like, yes, they're all war crimes. Some might be better or worse than others. Also, I did not keep the stopwatch like I said I was going to, and now I regret every decision I've ever made in my life. Don't Medusa head me. No head, please. No, please, I couldn't. No, I'm full. I had plenty of head before I got here. Thank you. No, I couldn't. Not even a single bite. Ah! Well, if you insist. Ah! Just gravity jump? Dude, I wish I could. What up, Sunglare? Okay, much better this time. Beat 100% map and souls. Now I'm trying to get all the item drops. Yo, nice. Enjoy the grind. Give me the double. Honestly, I think the axes might be a vibe. Just have an extra angle of attack for these freaking Medusa heads. Don't... Okay, that one's fucked up. That Medusa head is fucked up. You're on the stairs. You can't do anything, man. What were they? Okay, I'm gonna stop. Someone did leave a comment that's like, are you making fun of the angry video game nerd when you say what were they thinking, or is it more of like a reference? And in all honesty, I don't even know. At this point. I mean, it could be much worse. Those could be insta-kill moments where the Medusa head just fucking kills you, so. The problem is like, yeah, that shit. Both? Either? Yeah, I don't know, man. At this point, I really don't know. As someone who has essentially zero reverence for Angry Video Game Nerd, because I just didn't watch it when it was culturally relevant. I guess I was too busy, like, I don't know, kissing girls or something. That's not true. I'm lying. What the fuck is Donkey Kong doing here? Donkey Kong has axes? I should have kept the axe. Get away from me! Mr. Kong, please! Oh, shit. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Wait. Oh, I thought I looped his ass. I thought I got him in the AI loop. Oh, we got him. Take that. I can't believe they just stole Donkey Kong for this game. He even has his patented axes and knives that we all know from Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Oh, wait. Oh, it's so obvious now that I'm reading the story. Ah, yes, as I am very fluent in Japanese. Uh-huh. I think he just said, fuck you, asshole. Oh, God. And I have to answer correctly or else he hates me forever. Surely it's the top option. Oh, yeah, okay. Whew, diffuse that situation. He said, what a horrible night to have a curse. Cool. 18 minutes in, we now have a new playable character. All right, so now how do I swap? Swappies? Oh shit, he goes crazy style. His movement, oh, he has air control? They knew how to do air control? Oh my god. Does this cost hearts? No, your standard attack is a throwing knife? Interesting. Weird. Yes, I know there's an English version, but everybody said it's bad. Wait. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you... What is happening? This shit... Open world? I'm on top of the world! Oh, never mind. You have to backtrack through the level? What is this, a Metroidvania? Whose idea was this? I want my money back. What happens if you say no to the help then? Are you just stuck here forever? Oh, fuck. What do I do? Wait, the screen doesn't even scroll back up. Oh, no. Oh, huge. Huge skip. They call that the DB skip. I invented it. Wait, actually, where am I going? Okay, not up here, apparently. Oh, God. YOLO? Oh, the huge dodge. Professional gamer ego out of control. Well, you don't understand. I'm simply a professional gamer. Use your freaking frog abilities, Frogman. Frog harder. Look, it's not easy being the world's greatest video game gamer of all games. This is clearly where we're supposed to go. Or not. Nope. Don't Medusa head me. No head. All right, Frogman. Ah! Who put those spikes there? Those weren't there before. Flash back to when there were spikes. Why am I jumping that way? I'm sorry. You guys saw into an alternate reality where I didn't know how to play the game, but the thing is that that's merely there for entertainment purposes only, because I would never make that mistake in real life. You see, I'm simply the greatest gamer of all time. Is there a way for me to, like, just jump down here? Yeah. There we go. Okay, now I'm confused. I was confused before, but now I'm very confused. Like, what's the... Are we literally backtracking through the entire level? Hold on, can I get in this hole? I can. But why? But why get in the hole? Oh, for an epic skip, I see. That never happened. Okay, why does he bonk his head but fucking... Explain. Explain! What is happening? I have to backtrack. What's... You have to hold up to... Okay. I now understand what the game wants from me. I'm learning. Let me learn. Okay. I get it now. Damage boost. Oh, smoothment. Okay. See? I figured it out. No. You guys don't understand. I was actually pretending to not know how to play this game as a Castlevania professional. I actually know all the tricks and secrets in this game because I'm a professional after all. I just really didn't want to have to game over and do this entire stage again. So we're good. I'm going to stop doing the rewind cheese now that I understand what's going on. I also could have switched characters at any time. Haters are telling me simply switch characters to one that fits the situation better instead of grinding the section over and over again with a character that isn't fit for that section. And you know what I say to those haters? They were correct. My bad, haters. You were right on that one. Should have listened to you. All right, watch this. Sequence break. Go! No, just get in there. Get in there! Watch this. Oh! I almost did it. Bro, I almost had the sickest sequence break. I was about to discover a new wrong warp in Castlevania 3. They'd call it the dragon skip. The dragon D's nuts across your face skip. Got him! Oh. Can I just peek this angle real quick? Huge. Dude, I bet this looks crazy on a CRT back in the day. Can I duck under this? Oh, hell yeah. Hold on, let me see if this looks crazy on a CRT back in the day. Let me try something real quick. Oh, dude, this is how I remember video games looking. Oh my god. Dude, video games are sick. More filters. More. This is lifelike graphics. Make it blurrier, please. All right, I'll fix it. It's fine. And we're back. Ew, gross, turn it off. Sorry, I don't mind chunky pixel art with no scan lines or bloom or blur. I'm fine with that. And I get it. There's a lot of nostalgia behind it, but it's like pixel art in and of itself is also interesting and cool. It's fine. I think there is a lot of reverence for but bloom and scan lines and achromatic dithering. That's how the game was intended to be viewed. I mean, like, sure, whatever, man. I don't know. You're allowed to like what you like. It's just aesthetic differences. And I like pixel art that is... Why? I'm sorry, why? Why can he do that? It's the last I talk about dithering ever again. Balloon pods? They got balloon pods in this game? This is gonna lag the fuck out of the game. Oh, the axes seem to not spawn in the seeds. Now, if the seeds hit the ground and then spawned more enemies, that's how you know it's a Dark Souls encounter. AKA, this game is a coward. Okay, they just infinitely spawn. I found the infinite spawner. Oh, wait, no. They just spawn as many as they can because there's a entity limit or something. You can only have so many sprites on the screen. Understood. Spilling your seed on the ground is a sin? Not where I'm from. It's mandatory. Don't show DB your vinyl collection. I have nothing against vinyl. I don't think they're necessarily equivalent. Yo, what up, Turbo? Yeah, we're playing the Japanese version. I was going to play the US version, but right before I started, I was like, I shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. Also, they brought back the CV2 spiders. Let's go. Except instead of shooting out webs, they're shooting out baby spiders? Interesting. I just think that there are too many people who are like, did you know actually that pixel art was intended to be viewed through a CRT monitor? CRT television, which means that there should be some amount of scan lines and bloom and chromatic apparition happening. That's how the artists intended you to view their games. And I'm just honestly, I don't care. I don't care, man. The game looks fine. It's just better? Okay. What the hell is this guy? Get him. Oh, I'm doing like no damage? Quick, go, gadget, switch characters. Surely I'll do, oh, I have no upgrades. Oh, and no sub-weapon. And I'm still doing no damage. That's a problem. Oh, you just hit him in the eyeball. I see. Oh. I am superior gamer, simply superior gaming. All art characters are better, and the final checkpoint isn't terrible in this version. Okay. Cool. Ah, yes. More story that I definitely understand as someone who is fluent in Japanese. So clearly the answer is you just pick option 1. There we go. Huh? What? Why is he leaving? Why can't we all just get along? Hold on. What's option number 2? No? So you have to pick? But what if I want to play as Sypha? Oh, she's ass. You're telling me? This just in. I'm hearing that she's ass. She's the worst to ever play the video game. All right, I'll play as Ralph. Sorry, I mean what the hell is this guy's name again? Grant. Yeah, Ralph is the Belmont. Grant kicked out of the game like the CV anime. No, we're back. The ghost ship! Everyone's favorite level from my favorite video game, Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Although the music's not nearly as good. Oh my god, is that a Duron? Guy who's never played a Castlevania game before, except for Soten. It's just like the other game I played! Wow! Stopwatch! Should I upgrade my other guy? Ralph looking a little lacking right now. Okay, huge. Let's at least get him some whip up. Okay, well. Too bad this game is just an asset rip of Soten. Yeah. Lazy developers. They don't feel like making new video games from scratch. The old-fashioned way, just like Mom used to make. Okay, can I get a sub-weapon? Go, Gadget. Grant, go up there and see what the fuck is going on. Excuse me? Okay. Oh my god. Huge. Exactly what we needed. Okay. Recently went through seasons 1 through 4 of the anime. I only saw seasons 1 and 2. I just never cared to go back, to be honest. Oh! Crumbling platforms. What is this, game mechanics? I would like that, please. No, it disappeared! And now I'm really sad. Oh my god, these ghosts are so powerful. Whoa. Okay, having air mobile. I'm pressing down. No. We're rewinding that one. I literally was pressing. I'm holding down forward. Does down forward not work? It does. Why did that not work? Okay, it sometimes works, I guess. Never mind. Give me the turkey, bro. Watch this. Ugh! They're calling this the DB skip. Yeah, that's right. Speedrunners are going to be stealing that one in 2046. This guy. What do you mean, this guy? The game cheated. Oh, God. Please. Okay, I have no recourse for that one, chat. I'm just going to hold that L. I'm just going to hold it. My bad. Does Grant lose all of his shit, too? Or, Ralph? He does. Okay. Chat, I might be cooked. Kill the fucking ghost! I did the same thing twice! Tactical game over abuse. Alright. You're supposed to hit the enemies with the weapon? Is that true? Bro, they have way more range than they should. Here, you can pick up the stopwatch. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, this guy is actually fucking camping, though. Bro's camping! What? Whatever, dude. Why didn't they balance the game? Your Honor, he was camping.
Actually, it's called holding position. It's a strategic,
Okay, so they just back up. Never mind. I guess I could have figured that that's probably what they would do. Whatever, man. And I'm holding the button. Dude, I don't... So you hold the jump button, he grabs the ledge. You hold up, he moves up. Yes? How does this shit work? I thought I understood how it worked. This is the most complex mechanic in any video game ever. How did that hit me? Bold of me to assume that it works. Got it. Okay. Understood. Okay, so just skill issue. Got it. Oh, no. So you don't need to hold jump to grab the ledge. Jump is how you move up? But up is also how you move up. What? And then sometimes it just drops you when you're on the ceiling? So if you want to cling to the ceiling, you have to hold up? Do you get to cling on the ceiling forever? Oh my god, why are the ghosts so strong?
what were they thinking?
Why does Grant, like, clip through the freaking ceiling, bro? Oh my god. I'm in the ceiling, but I can't grab it. I'm literally touching it. This shit don't make any fucking sense, bro. Never mind. It was bold of me to assume that anything worked in this game. I wonder if you can damage boost up there or something. Just go! Just go! So, can I not crawl around this corner? Because that's what I tried to do last time. Oh, you can. I just did it wrong. Understood. Have a nice day. Okay, now I'm actually learning. Copium, copium, copium. This is definitely learning going on. Okay.
They just don't make video games like they used to. Back in my day, we only had one video game we rented from Blockbuster and never gave it back.
Where are the delicious wall roasts? I'm honestly just not even checking for them, to be real, because I'm a baby. Snakes? Oh, God! No! Stay away from me! She shoots snakes out of a bow? Oh, hold on. Is Grant OP? I'm starting to think Grant might be overpowered as fuck. That was the mid-boss? I get to just sequence break all I want. I have an infinite projectile, which the bosses seem to not have an answer for? Are you telling me I got tricked into playing a baby game for babies? Oh, God. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He's nowhere near as powerful in the US version. So everyone told me to play the Japanese version so I could play a baby game? Baby's first video game? It's weird because it's only the third video game ever made. Isn't it crazy that historically, the first video game ever made, Castlevania 1, and then they didn't make another video game until Castlevania 2, just to come out with this 12 years later, Castlevania 3? Weird. You'd think somebody else would try and make a video game. Hello? Not a ghost. I hate those things. Oh, that hits me. Why wouldn't it hit me? And the whole stage. Let's play it again. Speedrun time. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. Don't fall down the stairs, just like in real life. What happened to Ralph? He fell down the stairs. Okay, you're supposed to back up, please. Thank you. Okay. In the US version, your main weapon is melee only, so he just has a little dagger instead of actually throwing it. I was gonna say, yeah, this throwing knife shit seems OP. Ugh. Okay, I figured this game out. This is a baby game for children. Can't believe you guys tricked me into playing a baby's first video game, even though it's the third video game ever made. Watch this. Sequence break. Okay. There's secrets up here. Ah, that's so much damage. God forbid I want to explore in my open world Metroidvania video game. God forbid. There's definitely secrets up here. Right, guys? I'm not just wasting my time. Bro, if Miyamoto made this game, there'd be a warp pipe to fucking World 7 right there. And they'd call it the greatest speedrun ever made. It's the greatest speedrunning video game ever made. You just go in a warp pipe and skip everything. Give me the fucking meat, bro. I'm the meat man. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with freaking speedruns that skip everything, obviously. Okay, this ghost needs to go. And by it needs to go... Yeah, this wall cling mechanic is very good. Is the problem with it, is that it's too good. And it... You know what? Just go, man. We're skipping everything, bro. We're just going. Speedrun. It worked that time somehow. I don't know. I don't know what the difference was. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Go! Oh my god, the platforms! In my platforming video game!
Oh, my big heart. How does this wall cling item throw shit work? Because I threw it the other way. Weird. Very weird. Kind of want to know what that is.
One up? How am I supposed to grab that? I'd need to be able to fly like a bat.
Damn, I can't believe Medusa got freaking downgraded. I'm stoned! Never mind. Hardest boss fight of all time. Wow, this is the greatest video game I think I've ever played. Yeah, it's Duron.
Yo, is that Duron from high school? Buddy, it's been so long. How you doing?
It's just a lizard. True! Yeah, and no one would think that lizards are sexy. No one. Oh god, I was trying to throw a sub-weapon. Whatever, man. Whoo! Okay, try again. Nope. Next time. This is the one. Nope, just kidding. He went the wrong way. There it is. Got him. Huge. So there's probably like a whole extra part of the level if I go down. But in this house, we do skips. I wonder if I could duck under the mummy shit. Yep. Well, we got one of them. Dude, the game is just too difficult is the problem. They should make the game easier. Wait, there's still more to this? I clipped it to the thing. I don't want to be in here. Oh, God, I'm scared. I thought it was over. Oh, it's this fucking guy again. Never mind. We're chilling. Bro literally doesn't know how to hit me. I'll never know this guy's moveset. Nice desperation move, nerd. I would never fall for that. The OG? Fart with reverb? I never thought I'd hear it again. Thank you, Misty, for the sub. Yeah, there's 57 total sub alerts now that are all randomly chosen, so that's a good one to get. Oh my god, is this Castlevania? The place, not the game, but also the place, but also the game? Got him. Outskilled, outmaneuvered. I'm simply just better. Take that, nerd. You'll never beat me. I'm the GOAT. That's an above average number of sub alerts. No, it's normal. It's a very normal amount. Anyone who's saying that that's weird is bullying. Much like I'm getting bullied right now. Got him. Having air control on your jumps alone just is insane. I am realizing that this guy takes like 10 billion damage, though. So
None of this is real. It's all digital. It's all ones and zeros in the fucking Matrix, man. Wake up! Wake up!
thank you, Prime Dank, for the Prime sub. It's quite dank of you. By making the sound random, you have inherently removed the skill of choice from subbing and promoting lower level sub play. You know what? You're so true. I didn't realize. Yeah, skill-based subscriptions need not apply here. Oh no. Skill expression subs. Yeah. Sub elo plummeting. Yeah, that's why you gotta join the Dom meta. That's the problem. That's where the real skill is at. Ah! Why skill when can gamble? Bro, you're talking to the right guy here. Who needs skill when can gamba is basically the thesis of Symphony of the Night. Randomizer racing right there. And that's why it's like that. Oh. What are those things? What are those things? I don't think I can kill them. As much as I would love to. Yoink.
No, streamer, you're skipping the intended mechanics. No, you're supposed to play through the level the normal way. Stupid speedrunner ruined the game. I'm gonna go on Reddit and complain about the...
What the fuck? What the fuck? What is happening? Oh god, I'm scared. Redditor, please help. Truce, I want truce. I want a truce here. We'll work together. You and me, we can rule this city. Bro, they turned this shit into Icicle fucking Mountain. Nobody wants to play on Icicle Mountain. Nobody. Okay, I was gonna say, do I need to let the screen move more? Hi, it's me. Screen move more here. Me and my family, we've been moving screens for thousands of years. It's the family business. The vertical scrolling needs a pinch of WD-40. Dude, the best part about this is when you play as Grant, you get to just enjoy the game the way the developers intended by not doing any of it. Oh god, never mind. Oh god! I'm scared of everything. Go. That's gonna hit me. I was trying to get a stair lineup where he... sometimes you need a good angle, bro. Since playing as Grant is basically like playing an FPS. I thought the angle I had was just perfect, you know? But bro had a better angle. Oh, hell yeah. This is the way the game was meant to be played. Do you think Grant is part Flea Man? Like he was biologically engineered by the Umbrella Corporation to be half Flea Man? This is really engaging gameplay, honestly. Oh god. Just go. Just go. Wow, a bird that dies in one hit? Couldn't be Castlevania 2. Give me the axe. Oh yeah, I needed that. 200 points, straight to the bank. I'm rich. Watch this. Boss skip. Am I about to softlock myself? Let's find out. The answer might surprise you. Yes. Why do they let you softlock yourself up here, bro? No, I got this. I can't even throw axes because they disappear at the top of the screen. Good game. Good game. I had a feeling that was going to be a softlock. Attack the health bar. Now you're cooking. Bro just like spawns in from off screen. Ah, he throws rocks. Dude, his rocks. He's getting his rocks off. No one saw that. Yeah, the game bugged. Sorry. There's chicken there! Okay, he has homing rock throw. Understood. I have read all future possibilities, and there's nothing you can do to defeat me. I am simply the better gamer. And give me the chicken. Oh, I see now. This is how you became a professional Castlevania player. By cheating. What? No. That's not cheating. It's using your tools to your advantage. Fuck off. Bro, what are these things? Why did these enemies never make a return? Oh, wait. I know why they never made a return. Fuck. No, I mean, I'm hitting the part of every Classicvania where I start playing them, and then I think to myself, okay, we're like halfway through or whatever. Let me just turn my brain off and just try and have fun. And then this shit happens, and I get completely owned by the first screen. And then I'm like, well, surely there's going to be wall chicken here. And then there's never any wall chicken. I'm also realizing how much of... Because I've never played Castlevania 3. How many concepts from Curse of the Moon are just straight up ripped from Castlevania 3. Like, I knew it was an homage to Castlevania 3, but, like, this room is just straight up in Curse of the Moon 1. Like, the entire gimmick and everything. I mean, I get it. But, like, damn. Is this tool assisted? DB is wearing glasses, so yes. True. You guys aren't ready for the spoon discussion. If you're using a spoon to mash faster, you're doing a tool assisted speedrun. Everybody knows that. All spoon mashers should get put in a different league. Y'all weren't there for the spoon mashing debates, bro. Timers are tool assisted. Now we're talking. Hold on. That's some bait that I can get behind. Oh my god. Oh my god! Yeah, sure, whatever, man. We are simply just gaming. It is crazy. Why would you play as anyone else when this guy exists? It's wild. You cannot stop the definitional stupidity that I bring to the table. Generational stupidity, if anything. Oh, I thought I was gaming. Turns out I was not. I was simply watching a cutscene of the inevitable failure that is my life. U.S. Grant is an entirely different story, yes. From what I understand, that is true. But me, I'd like to believe that actually it's even easier. So did they make the game easier? Or sorry, did they make the game harder in the US version because it was like a later version and they were like, we made the game too easy the first time, let's patch it? Did they think that US gamers were more hardcore? Like, I just want to know the story behind why. You guys are saying that this is a skip? Why would I skip any of the game? The beautiful video game that they want me to play. Was the rental market really the reason? That doesn't make... Well, I guess it could make sense. We need gamers to want to rent the game more often before they can beat it? Did they not rent games in Japan? US is usually harder than Japanese with a lot of games? Really? Is that actually a trend from the time? See, I was merely born 30 years after this, so I wouldn't know.
Ah! The bridge is crumbling before me! I have to go! Oh no!
Okay, that's a little fucked up, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I thought there would be, like, gamer pride on the line, where the Japanese devs would, like, want to make the Japanese version harder. And assume that baby Americans can't handle their gamer prowess. And those thoughts and opinions are not problematic whatsoever.
Ah! What the fuck?
It's lagging so hard. Why did I jump down here? Oh, because the fire homes in. You see, the fire homes in. You see the fire. It homes in. I like that the game gives you so much time to react because you're basically playing in slow motion. Well, I'm fucked. Man. I'm dead. Oh my god. Dude, I just want to take a moment. That boss fucking sucks. So how did game devs get money from the rental system? They didn't? So then why would they make it harder for the US markets? What was the incentive then? I guess I say game devs, but I mean like the game development studio companies, whatever. Whoever owned the game itself. Make them more inclined to purchase the game. I guess I guess that would be an economic incentive, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Dude, fuck off, merman. I guess rental stores would be like, we're not purchasing your games because they're too easy and people aren't returning them? Or they're not re-renting them? Why does the fire act as a shield for this guy? Also, I'm making a save state because I just want to get past this. I'm going to be so real. I'm kind of bored of this stage, and this enemy lags the fucking game to crazy amounts, and I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, I see what I'm supposed to do there. I'm supposed to jump over him. Yeah, the lag is very annoying. Oh, one of them's down. Okay, we got this. Copium. All right, easy peasy. The games were made harder to incentivize customers to buy the game so they had enough time to play the whole thing. Oh my god. That is weird that the economic incentive is to make the game as hard as possible, because you would assume that if you push the envelope too hard, people just don't want to play your game because it's bullshit. But what other options did they have? What the fuck is the stage, bro? I play jump rope with this fuzzball? What? That's fine. Fuck you. You know what? It's the start of the stage. Please rewind that one. It's just an interesting idea that, like, game difficulty didn't come down to... Oftentimes wasn't part of the design philosophy of the game itself. It was just like, oh, we're going to change the game difficulty later because it's just more economically viable for us to do so. Very interesting. Man, fuck off! Oh no! Oh god! They fucking did it. They went and did it. They blew it up. Damn you all to hell. Oh my god! Go! Go! Yeah, companies with all different methods and justifications, so it's impossible to make like a blanket statement. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Interesting. So are you telling me when gamers were like, actually, back in my day, me when you games are actually much harder. I'm a real gamer. That's right, I beat the original Castlevania one without dying. With no guide. Like, you're telling me I just have to hold that and say that, yes, you're a real gamer. Yes, Grandpa, you're a real gamer. Now go back to bed. Nah, fuck that. We cheesing? Ow, my face! He threw an axe into my face! My turn to throw axes. Ah, never mind. His is better. Oh. However, while I make this jump, I must use this platforming mechanic that they put into this state. Anyways. Whoa. Whoa. Ah. That guy has a whip. I'm starting to feel insecure about my whip now, because I think his is longer. Man, fuck that bird. Oh no, it's the opposite of Icicle Mountain. And the floor is breaking. What? Help. Oh no. Oh, that's it? Alright, we're good. It's not about the length of the whip, that's how you use it? Yeah, sure, that's what they all say. Sounds like something somebody with a small whip would say. Oh! What? I assume that this heart, or this candle, would have everything that I need in it. Again? But this time a triple boss? Oh my god, dude. What is this garbage? Not the mummies again, bro. Dude, this game is so awesome. Freaking exploded. They got mix-ups, they throw high and low. They'll never beat me, camping in a corner, throwing knives at them. Oh, man. Who's this? Oh, the guy that has never once done anything to harm me? I honestly feel bad killing him. This genuinely feels like it's not even in self-defense anymore. It just feels like murder. What the freaking, they got Behemoth on this shit? Oh, I'm dead. They got fucking Beelzebub? They got Stan? They got Santa? That's crazy, bro. They got Berfomet. They got fucking Pazuzu. And the checkpoint puts me all the way back to an auto-scroller? Holy shit. Wait, this game is peak? And it's the world's shortest auto-scroller, but still. And then I have to fight the whole trio all over again. Me, 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 me. Yep. God, I love video games, man. You know, for the third video game ever made, this is not that bad. I was expecting more rough edges. Guys, we're trying to get to Castlevania. Stop trying to make me do 9/11. The fact that we got that alert twice today when there's over 50 to choose from really makes you think. Maybe there's a conspiracy going on. Jefferson, thank you very much for the 20 months. Am I enjoying the Classic Mania? It's something. I definitely found the cheese strategy early, but like Castlevania was an inside job. Are the sub alerts even randomized? Who's to say?
Oh my god! Hitless?
Okay, time to figure out what the fuck this guy's deal is. Psych! Give him the old turnaround. Give him the old reach around, I think is what I meant. No, turnaround. Give him the old 1-2. Okay. Okay, never mind. He's the goat. Literally. I jumped into his fucking projectile. He also does not like to take damage. Oh, dude, I thought you could walk under him. I guess you could if you were faster. Anyways. Yeah, we did a bit of backtracking there. No, I just cut it out in post. Yeah, when I upload these videos, oftentimes, like, if there's like a long backtracking section, I just cut it from the video, you know? It looks like I'm using save states, but, like, I would never do that because I'm a real gamer. What's that? The timer doesn't change? No. Trust, it's not, I would never use save states. I'm just cutting that part out of the video because you've already seen it. Streamer, this is live. Yeah, I'm cutting it out of the live stream. Duh. No, it's just through the power of editing. We get to cut out all the boring parts. Just like this. Yeah, we're just cutting out the boring parts. Psych! Oh, this guy has hella defense. Do I have to hit him in the face to do damage? Is that what it is? I think it is. No, he just has hella defense. I have to hit him 10 million times. Oh, fuck you, goat man. Man. Oh, am I in trouble? Why didn't he land on the platform? Bro clipped. So I see now that this boss is not really that difficult. I just have to not play like a moron. He's basically like a baby version of CV1 final boss. But yeah, this guy has so much fucking health. God, get in the hole! Oh my god, this fucking climb mechanic sucks ass. Yeah, I'm cutting out all the boring parts, guys. Wow, these jump cuts are getting kind of egregious, Mr. Streamer. You should edit your videos better. Yeah, my bad. You know what? Maybe I should go fucking Ralph mode. Ralph surely's got the damage. Yeah, look at that damage. Holy shit, Ralph, you're going fucking crazy mode. Ralph's going Insano style on this guy. Bro, this fucking sucks. Oh my god, what were they thinking? I don't think he's going to land on the platform in the next jump, unless it's a big one. Now, does he land on the platform here? Surely, right? How do you get around this guy? This is my problem with Castlevania 1 bosses, is sometimes when they just do this shit, or just Castlevania bosses in general, they just put you in the corner and they're like, okay, well now you cannot dodge. There's nothing you can do. Sorry. Maybe I can walk on... This is genuinely for science at this point, because I don't understand what the fuck they want. Yeah, you have to walk under him. Okay, now I understand. Yeah, no, I'm just tired of fighting that guy. That shit's just boring. Yeah, if you don't know about the rewind tech, you have to get your NES fixed. You might have gotten one of those early model NESs that don't have the rewind tech built into it. They did a recall on those.
Oh my god! Guys! Is this Castlevania? I remember this game. Bro, were they nostalgia slop gaming back in 1991 or whenever this game came out? Remember that game we made 4 years ago? Well, here it is again.
Yeah, we finished Castlevania 2. The video's up on Dragon Blitz Daily right now. Spoilers. I really hate how this guy interacted with the game. See, if I were playing the game, I would simply play it differently. Okay, that's nice. That's nice commenter I made up in my head, who's definitely going to be like, wow, this guy didn't even try and engage with the game's mechanics. And then he said he had a bad time. Well, that's his fault. It happens every time. Every playthrough, it always happens. No, you're playing the game that I remember from my childhood wrong. And your experience with the game is invalid. Because it's not exactly how I experienced it back in the fucking 80s. Like, what do you want from me, man? Maybe the game's just a little bit ass. Just a little bit. I'm still playing it. I'm still enjoying it for the most part. Some of the boss design is ass. Some of the mechanics are a little janky. It's fine. I play plenty of games with ass mechanics, ass bosses, ass. It happens. Do I have a video editor? No, I do not. I do any video editing that ever happens on any of my channels is all me. The only time I ever had anybody edit my videos was like over 3 years ago at this point, I think. I tried hiring an editor and it did not make financial sense to do so. Yeah, I don't know how people with like, I don't know. My subscribers are or fewer hire editors, genuinely. Unless they just accept that it's a financial loss. Which I just couldn't at the time. You know, we jump over that guy. See you! Pay them with exposure. Oh, wait. So if you just take editors and take advantage of their labor by not paying them, then you can afford it. Why didn't I think of that? Holy. Okay, ow. Damn, Death got hands. And scythe. Yeah, knowing what I know about editors in general and YouTubing is, unless you're editing for a channel that is like massive, you are probably not making very much money. And even then, you're probably not getting paid like what you're worth is ultimately what I'm saying. And if you work for a big YouTuber, you should bleed them for all they're worth. Damn. I almost had the perfect axe throw. Fuck! Close! Come on! Don't fuck me! No! They fucked me. Alrighty. Well, this stage is pretty short. I'll just replay it. Do. I'm sniping his toes. Get your toes sniped, nerd. Let's get some more hearts. We're gonna need them for the death fight. I was gonna say, when do I get to play as Alucard? I was going to ditch this nerd to play as Alucard as soon as I possibly could, but I'm starting to think that we might have maybe missed that option. I have a feeling that maybe I was supposed to do the Cypher route. Do I want tournament spoilers? No, I'm going to watch it later. No need to spoil now, please. Especially for those who don't want spoilers for themselves either in chat. Alucard is on a specific path? Yeah, I had a feeling we probably missed him then. Man, I wanted to play as the cool, epic Alucard. Instead, all I got was this guy who is insanely overpowered and throws knives everywhere. I would have played as Alucard and gotten extremely disappointed to find out that he's like pretty mid. And then I'd be like, why did nobody tell me he was bad? And then everybody in chat would be like, we did. And then I'll be like, why did nobody tell me? Ah! Yoop. Alright, we gotta lock in for this fight. Okay, we did not lock in. If anything, we are locked out. Ugh! Fuck you, Death. Yeah, please don't talk about the race in chat for those who plan on watching it later. That includes myself. I plan on watching it later. Alrighty, I think we've done enough of this level. Let's go ahead and just, you know, start editing out all the slow stuff. Now. And also just lock in, please. That's unfortunate. Okay. There we go. Gaming. Ah! There's a phase 2. Fuck. Let's try again. Thank God this streamer always edits out all the slow backtracking. Otherwise, this playthrough would be unbearable to watch. Fuck off. Fuck off. Don't worry, we can do phase 2 with 1 HP. Oh! What the fuck is this? What is this? What the fuck is that? Oh my god, this fucking climb mechanic sucks my nutsack, bro. I hate it. I'm trying to fucking climb up a goddamn brick. The game says, actually, you're bricked up right now. You can't move. Okay, cool. Bro's screen wrapping? Fucking screen cheating, bro? Huge. You guys saw that? This is why he's a professional Castlevania gamer? This is why he's a professional Castlevania gamer. Surely that's the final boss, right? They wouldn't have a 2-phase boss that's not the final boss, right? We're walking to the credits right now? Ah, shit! Now I'm stuck in the stairs again. Did I just clip through those stairs? Watch this! Epic jump! All the secrets are mine! Oh. All that for a heart? Why are we in the woods when we were in Castlevania just a second ago? Make it make sense. This story is starting to not make any sense. Because me, I play Castlevania games for the story. Bro, okay. What is going on with these frog monsters? They're insane. Okay.
What were they thinking?
Oh, fuck me. We're already off to a fantastic start. Oh my.
Streamer, it'd be so much easier if you played as Ralph Belmont, the greatest Belmont ever made.
Yeah, it probably would be. It's the water, Ralph. There's something in the water. It's transforming the frogs. Grant, why do you sound like that? Dracula put the dithering in the water. Nice ledge grab, bro. Oh my god, the game is too good is the problem. I'm starting to think this game might be too good. Bro, I'm so ass at sniping these guys, and their hitboxes are ass. Let's go. Just lock in. Professional Castlevania gamer. Okay, this is the end of the screen. Just go. Huge. Massive. Not the ball crushers. Are the hitboxes just as jank as they are in Castlevania 1? Cool, man. It just doesn't work. The mechanic just doesn't work. It's fine. Just go, man. Ignore all this. Ah! Just kidding. Bro! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Grant, stop fucking hopping the wall! Okay. Yeah. Clearly God isn't watching, because if there was a God, they wouldn't allow this to happen. Hi, Fran. Bro, whatever's in the water that turned these frogs into this. I'm grabbing that shit. You think I won't? You think I wouldn't stop a watch right now? Yeah, grab that heart. That one doesn't count. I love this game. It's so good. Dodge that guy. Just lock in, streamer. You can do anything. Oh, except for that. Oh, God. Hell yeah, bro. Hold on. I'm starting to think this game might be epic as fuck, actually. You're telling me I could sit all the way on the other side of the screen and just throw knives? I don't know if I'm ready to use my stopwatch yet. You guys see that perfect positioning to dodge everything? I know. Professional gamer, by the way. Those are the moves that only a pro gamer could do. Epic. Okay. Fuck off! Don't tell on me to Fran like I'm in trouble. I'm clearly a professional gamer. Look at this. Could a non-professional gamer do this? Huh? Hold on. Let me set it up. Yeah, look at that. Nah, I'm good. Where's my wall meat? It's been 10,000 years. I was promised wall meat. You know what? We do one of these. When in doubt, crawl around. Oh, God! Not this shit again, bro. I hate Icicle Mountain. No one wants to play on this fucking stage, bro. It's fucking Mickey Mouse ass. Mickey ass. Ah, where did he come from? I don't need those hearts. What the? Why is that a solid block when it's stairs? The stairs are never solid in this fucking game except for that one time. Yeah, fuck this game. We play the entire game, the stairs are never solid, and then the one time I interact with stairs in that way. Actually, they were solid the whole time. God, fucking shit out my fucking doo-doo ass. Bro, these fucking crawl mechanics are ass! They're ass! What the fuck? Make it make sense! You jump on the wall, you point the direction you want to go, and then he falls off! Holy God, fuck you, game. Grab the fucking ledge! I'm grabbing the fucking ledge and he wants to touch the ceiling so fucking bad! Grab the ledge! The ledge! Like that! The game's bad! It can't possibly be that I'm having a skill issue. It has to be that the game is bad. Hey, don't say that. That's a fucking slur here, dude. All right? It's fucked up. Can you not climb on that? Oh my God. Why? Why? Why is there no Jesus or God here? This is a godless land. Yeah, this level sucks ass. What the fuck is this branching paths bullshit? What is this, a Metroidvania? Oh my God, I probably just picked the wrong one. Oh my God. Fucking wall cling, bro. Fucking Spider-Man over here doesn't know how to fucking web sling. Fuck you. Why didn't it let me jump?
This is my favorite video game from my childhood. Streamer, you're playing it all wrong. You're doing it wrong. Why would you do that? Don't you know that you're supposed to actually...
Hold on. I'm being enveloped in the light. My people fucking need me. I gotta go. Bye. Bye. I'm being enveloped into the light. I'm no longer on this corporeal plane because I don't want to fucking be here. Fuck me, man. God damn it. I'll be here. I wish my ass was getting fucking raptured. No, because I have to stay here and play this dog shit fucking video game.
You went the wrong path, so stupid idiot. I knew about that being the wrong path back in the year 1994 when I played this game for the first time. I'm so much better than you, guy who has never fucking played this game before.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I'm playing the game for the first time, and everything's ass. And I'm even using the easy baby mode version of the game.
What were they thinking?
Nah, it's fine. It's just, this is just what the game is. That's fine. Fuck you, dude. Nice hitbox. Yep.
What were they thinking, dude?
Nah, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Nah, bro. Nah.
See, the thing is they don't make video games like they used to anymore. This was the peak of video games. They could have stopped right here and I would have been happy.
Whatever, dude. Fuck them. Yeah, I'm starting to realize that Curse of the Moon is just this game, but better. Granted, they did rip off, like, all of the concepts and ideas. Which is, like, now that I'm playing this game for the first time, I realize how derivative Curse of the Moon actually is. Which is something I was not expecting. I thought it was more of like, oh, Curse of the Moon is like an homage to classic Castlevania, especially Castlevania 3, when it's like, no, we just ripped off the game mechanics one for one in like 90% of the sections. Rip off. Igarashi helped with this game. Wait, do I have to play on Icicle Mountain again? Fuck, dude. I hate Icicle Mountain. Oh my god. If you guys don't get the reference, it's a fucking stage in Melee that sucks ass, where you just, like, slowly ascend and descend. And no one likes it. Not even back in the day did anybody play on Icicle Mountain legitimately. I'm gonna fucking shit my pants. Climb up the fucking... I don't understand. I don't understand. It's this one ledge where he just can't figure out how to fucking climb it. It's not even worth it, man. It's not even worth it. Don't call that Poke-a-Float Simulator, dude. Poke-a-Floats is a 9 million times better stage. So the thing I don't understand is, you hold the direction of the wall you want to cling on, and then you press up to climb up. But when you do that, he just lets go sometimes. Holy God, man. Go up. Like, that shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Please. 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 I'm not going that way anymore. We're going this way now. Oh, we can't. Oh. Oh, this is mandatory. This route is mandatory, you said. Awesome. You thought there would be branching paths in your fucking Castlevania? Fuck you. Also, he just hits his head into the ceiling sometimes and just fucking doesn't get any momentum out of it, which is insane. Where does this checkpoint send me? Is it just here? Okay. Let's just fucking make the save here. Christ, man. God, this game is pissing me off. The mechanics don't feel good. Whatever, man. Hold on. Somehow there's a secret path over this way, right, guys, that I'm missing that makes the game 10,000 times easier, and I'm just playing too fast and skipping all the game mechanics? You're skipping all the stage, streamer. You're missing out on all the things that make the game easy. That's why it's so hard. No, there's nothing here. Okay, gotcha. Just making sure. Fucking dog shit game. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I liked CV2 more. Because of game limitations, they couldn't put that much evil in it. Like, genuinely, this has to be a war crime. What I'm experiencing now is equivalent to a war crime. No? They call this level design. This is your goat? Castlevania 3 is... this room is your goat. Simply despawn all of the fucking Medusa heads from spawning on the left side. They have to spawn on the right side or else you're fucked. Awesome. Fuck you, doppelganger! Fuck you! Why? I hate this game. I hate it so much. Did I just get lucky last time that they all spawned behind me? Because this is fucking impossible. Fuck you, game. Nope. Dude, it's so bad. I genuinely got so lucky before. But they all spawned behind me. Fuck off. Walking doesn't trigger rotating platforms? Really? You're telling me the solution is you just walk? Oh. Oh, never mind.
Wow, this conceited streamer didn't actually try out all the game mechanics, and he said the game is bad when he's actually just having a bunch of skill issues. Yes! What more do you want? You are correct. You are an omnigod. If only you were the one playing the game instead of me.
Everyone would praise you for your bravery. And smarts and sexiness, most importantly. Is that YouTube chat? No, these are the chatters I made up in my head who are definitely going to comment on this video. But they're not making it this far in the video, so it doesn't matter. Hold on. Does he change? He does? He changes mid-fight. Interesting. Can I do anything with this? This is some fucking saw trap shit. You cheesed the game. Now, you get to experience what it feels like to be cheesed. They just chased you down. Oh my god. Dude, the boss design in this game is the worst so far. Holy shit, man. Fuck off. Ugh. Oh, man. Dude, we're still like 4 fucking levels from the big bat. Ugh. I just wanted to start over. You know, maybe it's time we go back to our roots, aka Ralph mode. Maybe that is the problem. I'm too busy trying to cheese the game when in reality I need to experience the game the way the developers intended. I told you his whip was bigger than mine. Dude. I'm fucking stuck down. I have to go down the fucking stairs? No, dude. No, not the fucking vertical auto-scroller. Please, I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry. For whatever I did, I apologize. Oh, no. I can't. I gotta grant it up. Oh! We're never playing as that stupid fucking Ralph Belmont ever again. Oh, this is forced? You have to go down here? It's not even like a... There's never any branching paths! Why would I assume there's branching paths in a fucking Castlevania game? Dude. This shit sucks so bad. I can't believe they made more games after this one. They said this is fine. Let's have the frame rate go to 2. No one's going to make it this far in the game anyways. No one will ever play this dog shit. Anyone who ever gets this far in the video game is actually a fucking moron for playing this much of it. If this bat fucking hits me, I'm going to shit my pants. Okay. Oh my god. Just please, 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 please. Okay. Did I make an impossible save state? Yes. I made an impossible save state because it took me too long to make the save state. Awesome. Whatever, man. I don't need that health. Are you... I would like to meet the developers for this game. I'd like to meet them outside. You're telling me I can't jump over this guy and cling the wall? Is this really what we're saying? There's no way. Surely there's a way to do it. Please tell me. Dude, this game is turbo Dixon butts. Ass shit from a fucking anus. They cooked. They cooked. They cooked up a 5-star shit on a plate. Why am I playing this game? Why are you asking questions? Do you think maybe you could figure that out on your own? I don't know, man. Why do you think a Castlevania guy would play a Castlevania game? To understand the history behind the series that is his livelihood? To realize, holy shit, I can't believe they made it this far? As a series when they were pooping out dog shit that looked and tasted like this? Dude, people who are like, it was just better back in the day, I think they had the lead poisoning. I'm more convinced than ever they had the lead poisoning. There are people who unironically tell me that Castlevania 3 is their favorite one. They need to get tested. They need to get tested. No, man. No! The game is winning. The game is beating me. Please. Please.
You think this is bad? When I was 4 years old, I beat Ninja Gaiden with my eyes closed, blindfolded, with all of my hands tied behind my back. And you call yourself a professional gamer?
Man, dude, I don't know what to say. Like, why? 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 Why did they make the game like this? The hitbox, hold on. This is what I'm talking about. I'm jumping in this spot. Like, what? Why? Still get hit, by the way. Nice hitboxes. Fuck this game. Hold on. Yep. I'm done giving this game any amount of respect. I'm finishing this game like an absolute asshole because this game is an asshole to me. US version is easier. Really? Because everyone said it was harder. Also, nice death box. Oh my god. The one time I want you to grab the ceiling, this fucker doesn't want to grab the ceiling. Oh my god. Whatever, dude. Sure. Just get me out of here, dude. Ugh. Sure thing, man. Sure thing, dude. If I'm in the middle of attacking, it doesn't... It's only when you're standing still the floor starts to break. Oh my fucking god. Ugh. So yeah, as long as you are in a weapon animation, you're fine, it seems. Just kidding, except for a crouching one? No, I just happened to find the safe spot. Jesus Christ, man. Never mind. I thought I was understanding this game better, but nope, just kidding. Oh my god, dude. I just cannot handle. Nice job. Yes, Sypha is in this game. No, she cannot fly, to my understanding. I never got a chance to play as her because, God forbid, you get to use all the characters. You just are stuck with this fucking asshole. This sucks. Oh my god. Sure, man. Cool enemy design, fucking level design, enemy encounter. So cool, man. They did such a good job with it. It's very fun. Wow, cool. I had no other option but to take damage there. Yep, same there. And now I'm dead. Fuck you, dude. It's like they wanted to make the game bad on purpose. Oh my god. No, Castlevania 1 skeletons are still evil. I was having fun, too. There was a period of time where I was having fun with this game. Messing around with, like, Grant's wall clings and shit like that. It's just the classic old game. They say, fuck it, we don't know what else to do but make the game insanely difficult for no reason at the end here. No one's going to make it this far anyways. Everyone's just renting their fucking games. Make the game bad. No one will say anything. No one cares. Ugh. Just checking. Just checking that it's still the same Castlevania game that I know and love. At least... Okay, I was going to say, at least it's almost over, but there's no fanfare for the start of this fight. Okay. Okay, I'm starting to understand. Okay, I literally couldn't do anything there. Awesome. And then it sends you back here? Fantastic, all right. Just making sure. Man. Every Classicvania is like this, where the start of the game is actually pretty fun, pretty interesting, some cool enemy designs, some cool interactions, and then you get to the end of the game and they say, fuck it, we don't want you to like our game. We want you to suffer. Okay, so you can apparently jump over that. That's cool. What causes the position of the wiggles? The small wiggles. Okay, now I don't understand at all what's going on. So the big one tracks you. The little ones are scripted, I guess? Okay, cool. Cool. Nowhere to go. Literally nowhere to go. Wow, we did it! What the fuck is that thing? What the fuck is that thing? 3 phases? I'm out of hearts. What do I even hit? What is this thing? Why does he shoot diagonal lines at me? No. What? I'm learning these attack patterns. He says as he instantly dies. What is this thing? I was gonna say, does this head even have like a hitbox that hurts me? Okay, I think I'm getting it. I'm getting owned by the Winged Dragon of fucking Raw, dude. This is a weird one. This is a very weird one. Oh my god. I can't believe I didn't die there. Okay. Dude, I can't wait for phase 5. Okay, that angle was fucked up. Oh my god, I'm so good at this game. I can't believe I dodged that. Phase 5. We've done it. Oh, thank God. Oh. Okay. I'm very happy I decided to play in the Japanese version of the game. I'm really disappointed. I wanted to play as Alucard. But I just didn't find that path, sadly. I don't know. I want to like this game. I really do. But it just suffers from so much of the old game bullshit. Weirdly enough, I liked Castlevania 2 more. Is there something wrong with me? Translate the Japanese. And Dracula was defeated forever, and there will never be another instance of seeing him ever again. And this is true and real, so write this down. There will never be another Castlevania ever again. I think I just like the idea of a more open style game, one that's maybe a little bit more forgiving, one that is more exploration focused, because the level design here isn't strong enough to make me feel anything other than frustration when I get past it, is the problem. I can understand if somebody really dedicated their time and effort into learning the level layouts by heart, really getting a handle of the mechanics. I can understand really falling in love with this game because there is a lot here. I'm just frustrated that so much of the game is like so insanely hostile to somebody who is just dipping their toes in and trying to have fun with the game, which is what I wanted. I wanted an experience where I can dip my toes in, play the game, experience what the game had to experience, and get through it in a like somewhat breezy, fun fashion. But the game said, no, fuck you. We are going to hinder you at every moment. Maybe one day I will run it back. Maybe I'll play the US version and specifically try and do the Alucard path and see how much worse it is. I don't know. If you want to see that, like, comment, subscribe, join the live streams on twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. Let me know if you want to see me rage out more to more Castlevania 3. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, YouTube.